In this video, I'm going to be kitbashing some Adeptus Custodes. Welcome to the Dankest Dungeon. My name is Jason, and so today I'm going to be starting a new Warhammer army. I've been looking at the Adeptus Custodes and I'm just like, that's really my jam. It's an elite army. I like to have as few models on the table as possible so I can make less mistakes. So I've kind of had this idea bouncing around in my head for a while that I would like to bring Stormcast Eternals from Age of Sigmar into Warhammer 40K, and that the Custodes would be a great place to put them because their aesthetic is very similar. They're just golden, fully armored dudes, and it would just fit great. So with that said, let's go ahead and get started with the first models I'll be building for this new army, the Sagittarium Guard. So the first thing that I did was pick up a Stormcast Eternals Vanguard Start Collecting box. So I'm going to use the basic Vanguard guys as my Custodian Guard, or in this case, Sagittarium Guard. I'm going to try to magnetize everything so I can switch between them if I want to in the future. Also the bird guys, I'm going to use those as my jet bikes in the future. I'm pretty excited about making those, so keep an eye out for those videos down the line. So first things first, we got to cut these things off the sprues. Then we're going to clean them up with an X-Acto knife. Alright, and then we glue them together with some plastic glue. Love this stuff. Going to pull out the bases here and put some green stuff on them. So I'm going to do some modeling here to try to do a little brick pattern on some of the bases. So I'm going to lay it out like so, and then I'm going to come back through with this wooden skewer and kind of sculpt them to my liking. Perfecto. Okay, now I'm going to glue the guys to them. I'm going to use super glue on top of the green stuff and then more plastic glue for where their feet are touching the actual plastic base. Once they're nice and secured, I'm going to come back through with some PVA glue, Elmer's glue, and I'm going to glue some rubble onto the black parts of the base. Using my skewer here to kind of push it under his feet and just drizzle it on. Cool, I'm liking it. As I said previously, I'm going to try to magnetize these fellas. So coming through with a hand drill here, I'm going to drill a hole in their left and right arm sockets, and then whip the super glue back out and glue the little magnets into place. Using this wooden skewer again because it's not metal, so the magnets won't stick to it. Do the same thing with the arms, and let's move on to the next box. So I picked up the Custodes Wardens Box Set. I like these guys' heads more than the regular Custodes. Also, as I'm making this video, the regular Custodes are sold out everywhere, so this is really my only option. What I'm going to be using from this box is their heads and their shoulder pads. And once they're all glued together, they look like so. And you could pull off their arms whenever you want, switch them out. Loving it. Okay, it's now time to prime these up. I have this can of Space Wolf Gray I have laying around from a previous project, so I'm going to use that. It's a nice middle of the range color. I'll be able to see the detail. I don't really like doing black or white because it's harder to paint over, but this should be an okay base for the silver metallics. And hey, I already have it. Let's not let it go to waste. So here they are, all primed up. As you can see here, I just blue tacked them down onto this piece of board and sprayed the heck out of them. Now we're going to be moving on to painting these, so I'm going to get my wet palette ready. I have this old crusty Tupperware container, put some paper towel in it, pour in some water, and a nice sheet of parchment paper on top. Yeah. For the paint scheme on this army, I'm going to be heavily influenced by the Alliance from World of Warcraft. So it's going to be a lot of clean metallics with gold trim and blue for any cloth. I just love how these guys look. They look so heroic, and I want my army to look heroic. Okay, first color up is Screaming Skull. We're going to apply this to the stone portions of the base. There we are. Next up, Army Painter Necromancer Cloak. I'm going to cover up the gray on the rest of the base. Moving on to a nice oak brown. I'm going to apply this to their bear pelt capes and any leather parts that might be on them. Next up is Crystal Blue. This will go on their head plumage and their loin straps here. Also any little jewels they might have on their armor. Now I'm going to whip out a white and apply this to the inside of their capes. I realize now that I probably should have done their capes separately because it is a pain in the ass getting this in here. Alright, gunmetal. This will be going on most of the armor plating, like so. Then I'm going to whip out the Balthazar Gold, and this is going to go on any of the fancier armor plating that I want to be golden and stand out. And after that is on, here is how they are looking at this point in the process. Pretty good, but kind of flat. So let's whip out the dark tone wash and get to it. After a hefty wash, this is how they're looking. Nice and toned down and a lot more detail showing. So now that we washed it out, we have to come back through and brighten up a lot of the details. Coming back with the gunmetal here, coming back with the Army Painter Greedy Gold here. Now we're going to try to make some of the silvers pop with Shining Silver, doing a little edge highlighting and hitting some of the more raised up parts of the armor. Now we have Void Shield Blue to pick up some of the highlights on the blue areas. Then I'm going to pull out the Ash Gray and do some dry brushing on the base. Oh yeah, that's nice. Now back to where we started, Screaming Skull again. I'm going to do a dry brush on the stone parts of the base and also on any bear pelt areas to bring the fur out. Pulling out the matte white again to do a little bit more highlights on the base. Just a little bit goes a long way here. And back to the Necromancer Cloak to paint the rims. Okay, we're getting there. Time for some tufts. Pick the perfect one and apply like so. And here we are, we're at the end. This guy's done, put his arms on, and he is good to go. So these guys were really fun to make. I love the Stormcast models, and having the ability to bring some of their style into 40k and give me hopefully a very unique looking army that'll stand out is just super exciting for me, and I can't wait to get on to making some of the other models. And since these guys are magnetized, in the future if the Sagittarium aren't any good or if I just want to mix it up, I can easily just switch it out with the spear or the sword and shield, whatever I feel like at the time. I really like the flexibility there and not having to paint so many extra models. Thanks for watching everybody, see you next time.